Kia ora and welcome to our weekly check-in with Aotearoa cricketing matters, and we're going to focus on the Super Smash here, but we're going to weave in some Blackcaps and White Ferns ideas. And for the Blackcaps, that means a couple of hot pockets from their current tour of India. We're recording this before the third ODI, and we're not too fussed about what happens in that game because we have seen Jayden Lennox look pretty solid for the Blackcaps on ODI debut as a lefty spinner. One of the most important things that we discuss in the nichecache about New Zealand cricket is how all the players stepping into that Blackcaps group perform. They do their job. We've seen Reece Mariu score a 50. We've seen Muhammad Abbas score a 50 in their first couple of ODIs, let alone all the seamers, the O'Rourkes, the Sears, and all these dudes who are getting the job done. Your Mitch Hayes scoring a 50 on test debut. Zach Folks being a multi-format Blackcap. All these new players to the Blackcaps are doing well early on in their careers. We're also seeing it with younger players in the Super Smash, but what I want to focus on here is the lefty spinners we've got in Aotearoa right now, because you're looking at Jayden Lennox do a job for the Blackcaps, and he, first and foremost, he's behind Mitchell Santner as far as lefty spinners goes for the Blackcaps, but it's important to build out this picture of a very specific skill set that I don't think a lot of people who don't follow New Zealand cricket know very well. And if we're talking Lennox, respect to Lennox, he's a fantastic bowler, fantastic cricketer. He might not even be the best lefty spinner at Central Districts because Ajaz Patel is really good across the formats, but he's also doing a good job in the Super Smash. He's got 9 wickets, averaging 21 in the Super Smash for Central Districts, and that may make him one of the best central bowlers. Leading wicket taker for Central Districts in the Super Smash is Ajaz Patel. And Lennox, when he was bowling in the Super Smash, 4 innings, 10 overs, he was averaging 29. Ajaz Patel's currently averaging 21.4. Ajaz Patel's not going to play T20s for Aotearoa. He's probably not going to play many ODIs either. That's why Lennox has got the opportunity. But Ajaz Patel is the big Donny lefty spinner at Central Districts. The funky thing here, though, is that the best spinner in Super Smash right now is Southern Districts, formerly Otago, otherwise known as Southern, otherwise known as Southern Districts, otherwise known as whatever else you want to call it. Ben Lockrose is the best spinner in Super Smash right now. He's one of 3 bowlers who have taken 10 or more wickets. Top of the charts, we've got Harjot Johal for Auckland. Very skillful all-rounder. Scott Kugline's the other bowler. Lockrose has 10 wickets, averaging 19.2. So Jayden Lennox might not even be the best spinner at CD. Well, he's definitely not, because Ajaz Patel's already a bit of a legend across the formats for Central Districts and a very good test spinner for New Zealand. And the best spinner in the Super Smash is Ben Lockrose, who is a younger spinner. He's got the same height and skill package as a Lennox, but he also smashes the ball. He's got a T20 batting strike rate of 150. So watch out for Jayden Lennox moving forward, because I can see him entering the mix if he continues his good form. And of course, there's also Tim Pringle, the Northern District spinner. He's solid in the Super Smash, 6 wickets, averaging 32.6, but he's already an international T20 bowler for the Netherlands, although I don't think he was in their World Cup squad. So that may signal a shift in his representation desires. But Tim Pringle's a really good bowler. He's a proven international bowler as part of a good Netherlands group. So we've got Lennox, who's over 30 years old, with Ajaz Patel, but then you've got the Lockrose and Tim Pringle bracket who are on the rise as lefty spinners. Then we've got Rohit Gulati for Auckland, who is probably the best spinner overall in domestic cricket this season. He's definitely Auckland's best bowler across the formats. He is now averaging under 27 in all 3 formats to start his domestic career. He did play for Northern Districts last season. He I don't think he actually moved, because you can live in Auckland and play for Northern Districts. That's quite easy given the logistics of Northern Districts. But this is Gulati's first full season of domestic cricket, playing all three formats for Auckland. He's their best bowler across all three formats, and he's not even Auckland's best lefty spinner in the Super Smash. Gulati has 5 wickets, averaging 32. But we've also got Sid Dixit, who is averaging, he's 16.5 with 8 wickets, and he is the third best spinner as far as wickets go in the Super Smash. Same amount of wickets, sorry, as Cole McConchie, but a lower average. So he's, third or fourth best spinner in the Super Smash right now. He's also a lefty who's a really good batter. So it'll be interesting to see how Gulati and Dixit develop over time, as they are in their first, second, maybe third seasons of domestic cricket. But this is the first season where it feels like they're playing a lot of cricket across the formats, whereas Lockrose and Pringle have been highly active for Auckland and Northern across the formats over the past 3 to 4 years. Pringle didn't play much domestic cricket, if any domestic cricket, last season, but he had been playing for Northern Districts before that, while also representing Netherlands. So you might look at Lennox and think, wow, he's a decent lefty spinner. We got a lot more of those dudes around Aotearoa, and these guys are getting busy across the formats as well. But special shout out to Lockrose and Ajaz Patel for their fantastic Super Smash mahi. And you might also be looking at that Blackcaps team in India and thinking like, okay, seam attack, Kyle Jamieson, Zach Folks, and Christian Clark. No one's going to say that's the best seam attack, ODI seam attack specifically, that New Zealand has. But this is the thing about the Tour of India, is Aotearoa has tremendous depth in every position, in every role. And we're seeing a funky combination in India with Jamieson, Folks, and Christian Clark. We've also got Michael Ray as part of that squad. He did his job in his first on test debut, second test as well, so he's an interesting bowler. Josh Clarkson's in the squad, and he was the best Plunket Shield bowler straight up this season. But back in Super Smash, we have 2 bowlers that have probably more X factor than Folks, Clark, Ray, and Clarkson. Now, they have different skills. Folks is an excellent batter. Christian Clark has scored 100 this summer in the Ford Trophy. Michael Ray is a veteran, reliable character who can bowl quick enough. Clarkson is an all-rounder. So they have different skill sets, but as far as just straight up and down seam bowling, Ben Sears has 9 wickets, averaging 24.8 in the Super Smash. Wellington kind of suck. But Ben Sears is doing a great job returning from injury, and he bowls fast. So we've got one of those dudes who is not involved in the Blackcaps setup right now, and that's all good because we've got so many players that they're just everywhere else. But there's also Matt Fisher, because Ben Sears has always been a pretty good T20 bowler, and compared to Matt Fisher, Ben Sears has already made his test debut, but test and one-day bowling are his weaker formats compared to T20 bowling. Matt Fisher, it's the flip side. Matt Fisher's best format is first-class bowling. His second best format is one-day bowling. His worst format is T20 bowling. But now Matt Fisher, he's got 7 wickets, averaging 24.8. Sears has 9 wickets, Fisher has 7 wickets, but they have the same average, 24.8. Fisher is second for wickets in the Super Smash behind Scott Kugelheim at ND. Ben Sears is the leading wicket taker for Wellington. And I'll roll through their career averages below Blackcaps, because Fisher's already made his test debut, Sears' test debut, and he's a frequent T20 bowler for New Zealand. First class average, Ben Sears 27.8, one day average 31.5, T20 average 22.4. Fisher, first class 22.2, one day 26.6, T20 37.4. Fisher's T20 average was over 40 recently, but a good Super Smash campaign has seen that average drop below 40, and those two dudes are basically I actually think Will O'Rourke is the fastest bowler in New Zealand. He's never really put in that equation. And there was a quote from Jacob Bethel after the Ashes loss where he specifically mentioned facing Will O'Rourke in New Zealand as a pretty interesting challenge, because Will O'Rourke, he's 145 Ks straight up. Said straight up a lot. That's what we do. It's just straight up cricket chat. But Will O'Rourke, he is 145 Ks. He is at least 140 Ks consistently. Sears and Fisher hit that mark as well, but I do want to shout out O'Rourke because I think he's the most consistent fast bowler in New Zealand. Obviously, he's out injured right now, but we've got two more of them doing good stuff in the Super Smash, Ben Sears, Matt Fisher, both of whom could very easily be in that ODI squad in India right now. Both are, let's be honest, more effective seamers than Christian Clark. But Christian Clark's got his opportunity. He's doing well. This is the thing about the Blackcaps depth, is that whoever gets the opportunity usually does their job. And I'm not too stressed about who is and who isn't in the Blackcaps environment, because when you're not with the Blackcaps, you're excelling in domestic cricket, which is what Ben Sears and Matt Fisher are doing right now as two of the fastest bowlers in New Zealand. So shout out to them. And while we're talking about seamers that I like obviously we've talked a lot about Cameron Paul and a bunch of other seamers around Aotearoa who are on the rise, but I do want to give a special mention to Angus Oliver, the Auckland seamer, who is just casually 22 years old with a T20 bowling average of 17.5. He's got a bit of juice about him as well. I also love the skill set of Central District's Toby Finlay, who looks like a very natural cricketer. All these guys very talented, so watch out for them. Let's slide over to the White Ferns, and this is something I want to see ASAP. I want to refresh the whole White Ferns group and just offer some far more funky, talented teams. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I want to see a seam unit with Molly Penfold, Rosemary Mair, and Bree Illing together. Because those bowlers all bowl fast, they all hit the deck, and it's a pretty scary bowling unit that I want to see play consistently for the White Ferns together. They've obviously, fast bowling, seam bowling, you're always going to get injured. That's all right. That's why the Blackcaps seam depth is so important. And we're seeing that build out with the White Ferns now, because you've got other seamers like Manama Downs, Louisa Cotcamp, Lucy Boucher, Josie Penfold, Missy Banks, Kaylee Knight, Amy Hucker, Jess Ogden doing well in the Super Smash. But I want to see a White Ferns team with those three seamers, Penfold, Mair, Illing together. Illing's the lefty. Mair's pretty fast, moves the ball in. Penfold, is just scary. She just bowls heat. And all three of them are willing to bowl bounces. They swing the ball, they move the ball. Fastest seamers in New Zealand on the rise. Obviously, Lea Tahuhu is the mātua at the top of the pops there. I want to see those three seamers and the White Ferns together with Jess Kerr and Hannah Rowe. Having those two all-rounders is going to be very good for the White Ferns, I believe. Hannah Rowe has played a lot for the White Ferns, but she's been in and out recently. I want to see her get a good opportunity consistently in the White Ferns, and Jess Kerr is the best domestic player right now. She has been the best domestic player for a couple of seasons now, because other players are getting jobs elsewhere, and that's all good, but Jess Kerr is playing. And Jess Kerr's scoring runs. She's scoring runs quickly. She's taken wickets because she is one of the best bowlers in New Zealand. So you could have a White Ferns team with Jess Kerr, Hannah Rowe as very good all-rounders, and then you go on Penfold, Mair, and Illing. 5 seamers there. You got 2 pretty good batters, and you got 3 fast, bouncy seamers. I think that is a very interesting group, and it's all good because you've got so many other spin options. Amelia Kerr can be a genuine spinner. She is the genuine spinner. She is the best spinner, best bowler probably from New Zealand. She's batting in the top 3. I think Flora Devonshire should be a first 11 White Fern. She's a lefty spinner. So you can have those two offering lots of batting, because Flora Devonshire is one of the best young batters in Aotearoa right now. Amelia Kerr, obviously a legend. You can have them offering good batting as well as really good spin. and that's how you get this type of team together. So that's one thing I want to see, but mainly just the three hostile seamers, Molly Penfold, Rosemary Mair, and Bree Illing all together. The other funky White Ferns relevant thing in the Super Smash is the 8 batters, or are the 8 batters who have gone past 50 runs in an innings in the Super Smash. 13 Kiwis have scored a 50 in the Super Smash. 8 of the 13 are younger Kiwis, and that is very important when we're building out the White Ferns batting depth. Georgia Plym is on the list. She's a first 11 White Fern. I don't think we have got a 50 plus score for Flora Devonshire. She doesn't have a 50, but she and Izzy Sharp, who has 2 50s in a pretty mediocre Canterbury team, they both have strike rates over 130, which is pretty impressive for them. So Flora Devonshire is not on this list, but as I've been talking about, her and Izzy Sharp are really good batters who should be playing a lot more for the White Ferns this season, whenever the White Ferns play next. Other batters with a 50 plus score, Prue Catton, doesn't have a fantastic record overall, but she is one of Auckland's best batters in the HBJ Shield. I think she was second for runs in the North vs South T20 series, so she was one of the best batters in that series before Super Smash, and she's also got a 50 in the Super Smash. Prue Catton's got a bit about her. Emma McLeod's already played for the White Ferns. She is probably the next best batter below Izzy Sharp and Flora Devonshire, because Emma McLeod scores slower. She's a better one-day batter, and she doesn't offer the bowling as Flora Devonshire. We've got the 2 northern batters, Eve Walland and Natasha Wakelin, who I think are the only northern batters who have scored a 50. They are 21, 20 years old, so watch out for Eve Walland and Natasha Wakelin. Yes, they are the only batters with 50s for Northern. Natasha Wakelin's got the higher strike rate, also over 130, so that's good stuff for Wakelin. But Walland, I think, is the only Northern batter who has 6s in both competitions. Off the top of my head, you do have maybe just Watkin as a 6 as well. But Eve Walland has 3 6s in Super Smash, which is very impressive. Let's check in and see where the most 6s mark is. Izzy Sharp has 6 6s. Then we're just focusing on the Kiwis here. And the next best Kiwi is Amelia Kerr with 3, but Eve Walland also has 3. So don't overlook those 2 indie batters, Eve Walland and Natasha Wakelin. Izzy Gaze has a 50. She's competing with Polly Ingalls for the White Ferns wicket-keeping duties, but I do think Izzy Gaze can play as just a batter if she is just given the license to have a whack. Just put her up the top of the order, smash some boundaries, see what happens. That's a decent role for Izzy Gaze, because I still don't think she is better at wicket-keeping than Polly Ingalls. Then there's also PJ Watkins, who has a 50 for Southern, the Deep South, as well as being a really good bowler for Otago. And we've seen a bit of this because we've also got Bella Armstrong for Auckland. She has moved from seam bowling to spin bowling. PJ Watkins came to New Zealand from England as a lefty seamer. Now she's a lefty spinner. And she's got 5 wickets, averaging 29 with the ball. She's also got 103 runs, averaging 34 with the bat, strike rate of 116. She is the only Kiwi who's got a 50 for Otago. PJ Watkins, the only Kiwi with a 50 for Otago / Southern, while also being a really consistent bowler. And she's a lefty spinner. And we've got a few spinners doing good stuff on the women's side as well, with players like Zara Jetley, who's just straight up the best spinner in domestic cricket, tied for the leading wickets in HBJ Shield, as well as leading wicket taker in the Super Smash. And you've got like Southern have Anna Browning and Chloe Dearness as funky spinners. I mentioned Bella Armstrong. Ash Tuti Kuma's doing a good job for Central. So there's a lot of spinners around Aotearoa, but PJ Watkins has a 50. And some of these other spinners don't have 50s, although Zara Jetley has been very good with the bat. So there is a cluster of batters who are on the rise, and there's a few levels of that relevant to the White Ferns. As I mentioned, I think Sharp and Devonshire are pushing for first 11 opportunities. Obviously, Georgia Plym is already there. Then Emma McLeod, I think I've got her as a tier by herself. And then you've got the other batters like Catton, Walland, Wakelin, maybe Watkins, and other batters who haven't scored a 50 who aren't on this list below that. That's the White Ferns and Blackcaps relevant wrinkles from the Super Smash. Big up to you. Do your best. Cowabunga. Kia kaha. Te lava.